the reason we're talking about Deebo Samuel right now isn't that he's in the middle of a contract negotiation. We've known that for months. It's because his Twitter had some strange activity. Basically, he pulled a Kyler Murray. He took down his Twitter picture, his profile picture on Instagram, which was him.
The gram. Get it straight. The gram, baby.
I mean, look, I've been covering the NFL since 2011. It's only this year when I realized that actually you have to look at these players. I'm not even on Instagram, but you have to look at their Instagram because news is, at least the way I look at it, news is happening, and it's like little stuff. He takes down his Niner pictures, and then that's a story, and he knows it. And everyone's like, well, everyone's making too much of this. His picture's still up. The next morning, his picture's down. So it's like, are you trolling us? Are you listening to this conversation? What are you doing? To me, Deebo scrubbing his social media of 49ers-related things is juvenile. It's silly, but it is a story in 2022. In fact, this is where news is happening in the offseason, and it's strange. And I feel like it makes me feel like a boomer, but I really do think this is a story.
It absolutely is. I mean, my answer to this is nuanced, as usually my answers tend to be, that yes and no, it's an actual story. I think, yes, absolutely, it is a story. The question becomes, how big of a story is it? So, yes, it's absolutely right.
We don't know what it means.
No, you have to interpret it. I mean, when arguably the most popular player and the most effective offensive weapon has grown so frustrated with the negotiations he's having with the team,
or so we think,
that he takes these drastic measures, then yes, that is a story.
Remember, this started a month ago when he posted on Instagram saying, I'm tired of showing what I can do for you. Show me what you can do for me. Right. I did a whole live about that, and he immediately reacted and says, it's not all about football. Okay, well, now we're all thinking it's probably about football. And he hasn't corrected anyone in a long time. And I think he should unblock me. But that's neither here nor there.
Neither here nor there.
Neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Here's what I want to say real quick. What's crazy to me is what people say. No, I didn't finish it all. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, to me, at a bare freaking minimum, I believe this shows definitively where he stands in the negotiation process. I don't think there's any room for interpretation on that. I believe this is a clear-cut message. These elite level athletes have begun to understand the power that social media has and the leverage that it creates for them. So for him, this is just pulling another lever in the negotiation process. And that's why, yes, it's a big deal. And at the same time, it's not a big deal. He's just flexing his muscle here. He has very limited ways in which he can impact this deal getting done and him maximizing his earning potential. This is one of those ways he's using that leverage that's available to him.
He's most likely pulling a Kyler Murray. Again, we don't know.
Yeah.
He's most likely Kyler Murray did this 2 months ago.
Right.
And I think we could we could guess that agents have looked at that and be like, oh, that's an interesting move. You know, it's sort of not really doing it. You're not requesting a trade.
No.
It's nothing really that unprofessional. It's very silly. But what it does is it sends a message and it makes your client the center of the conversation for a week. Like, we went from talking about Jimmy every day to now talking about Deebo 2 days in a row. And is he worth the money? Should the Niners pony up? Are they being cheap? Like, it's all about him. That's a good thing. Like, Deebo's agent, or if this is what they wanted to do, they won. This was smart. So that's the one thing I want to say. The other thing I want to say is when people are like, hey, this is nothing. This is a non-story. This means nothing, and Deebo's probably going to sign. How do you know? That is a leap of faith. Yeah. What I think is so interesting about this story is it's cryptic.
It is.
We don't know what it means. And I'm not saying this means that he's going to get traded. It means that we need to have a serious discussion.
We do. And the last part of what you said there, I think, is true when fans are assuming, well, it's no big deal and Deebo's still going to sign. Yeah, I still believe Deebo's going to sign. I still believe that last part. But to say this is no big deal, that to me is just.
Did you talk to his agent? Did you talk to Deebo?
No, I mean, the level of frustration could be minor, and he's just using this as leverage. The level of frustration could have risen to the point where he is fed up with this. To me, the brilliance of this move by professional athletes now is that they are essentially crowdsourcing some leverage in this negotiation, right? He puts this out. Deebo knows he is one of, if not the most popular players on the 49ers after the season that he just had last year. I mean, people watched him, in tears on the sideline, and you saw the reaction on Twitter. Like, that tore 49ers fans' hearts out of their chest. And so he has now taken the majority of 49er faithful onto his side. Sure, there is the minority that feel, as the earlier commenter do, that, well, forget him, right? Get him off the team, trade him now. But I do think that's a minority. I think most 49er fans are now screaming from the top of their lungs,
hashtag
pay Deebo.
Yep. Hashtag pay Deebo. So
He
I think
crowdsourced it.
It's a smart move if that's what he's doing. But again, we don't know what this is about. And it's an interesting new little, maybe a strategy that players and agents are doing. But to me, last thing I want to say, Kyler Murray did this in Arizona. It was national news. Okay. National news. The local beat writers in Arizona wrote about it. It was a story on NFL.com. I read it yesterday. This happened and I'm waiting. I'm like, do I write about this? No one writes about this. And I'm thinking, I waited because we didn't know. Like at first, it was like, well, he took down some pictures, but he still has his profile picture up. Then I was like, okay, keep the profile picture down. He's done exactly what Kyler Murray did. If it's a story there, it's a story here. So I write it late yesterday afternoon. It immediately is trending on Twitter. Twitter was waiting for it. They wanted to promote it, but there's no story about it really anywhere else locally and on the NFL Network. So this morning, it's talked about on Good Morning Football with Peter Schrager. And Peter Schrager goes on like a 3 or 4 minute thing, which is just, the 49ers perspective. Like, what is Deebo's problem? The Niners always, work this out before training camp. Why is he being so impatient? Like, it's like, okay, like, so, and you got to remember, NFL Network is owned by the owners. That is their media organization. And the Niners feed all of their scoops to the NFL Network. So I think what we're seeing here is the Niners are obsessed with controlling the narrative in the media. Whereas I think the Cardinals could probably care less. The Bidwells are thinking about, working it out with Kyler Murray. Jed is obsessed with controlling the narrative in the media. We're not messing up. This is what we wanted to do. This was going on. And so instead of letting someone write about it on NFL, he's had to go to Peter Schrager and be like, okay, I'm not saying he did, but I'm guessing someone had to talk to Peter Schrager and be like, hey, man, can you just explain on Good Morning American Football what we're doing here? I'm not accusing anyone. It's just I'm guessing. This is a guess. That I'm not saying Jed did personally, but this is how they work.
The vast majority of information that's intentionally leaked from the San Francisco 49ers has gone through a source like Peter Schrager, oftentimes Peter Schrager himself. So it would lead me to believe that he's in
their freaking state of the franchise things, or he has been multiple times.
Right. He's definitely clearly connected to John Lynch. I mean, they are buddy. And so you would expect that he's coming at this from the team perspective because he heard directly from the team and got their perspective.
Yeah. So that's the last thing I want to say about it. The Niners are trying really hard to say this is no big deal. And I feel like, I don't know why a lot of media people are taking their cues, but the Niners want you to think it's no big deal. That's why their media organization, the NFL Network, is probably talking about it the way they are. Everyone's following suit.
Yeah.
I'm not moved by the 49ers telling me nothing to see here, turn around, nothing going on. Okay, I don't know. All I know is that Deebo Samuel's acting like he's freaking pissed. That's what he's projecting. Everyone knows it, and he's not telling anyone. He's not correcting anyone.
The equivalent to this almost feels like if the team came out and said, we're not paying a wide receiver above 21 million. That's just how we do business, right? It would be some type of negotiation tactic that is, again, close to the nuclear option. Like it's close to, hey, this is all the leverage I have, so I'm pulling this lever. And Deebo is saying, I am fed up with the way in which this is trending, so I'm going to try and change the narrative. And again, I think he was brilliant in realizing, unlike Kyler Murray, where I think the fan base is a little more split as to whether Kyler Murray is the truth or not because of the end results. I think with Deebo, the fan base is majority behind him. And therefore, this was an intelligent move by him to where there is now the 49ers' feet are held to the fire by their own fan base calling for Deebo to get paid.
Yeah, and again, like the Niners can say, like, "Hey, we want another year," or Deebo's a team guy. Like, he'll work it out. He'll meet us halfway. He wants to be with Kyle. I don't know about that. It seems like what he's projecting here is he wants to pay what he's worth. And I think what we're seeing is if the Niners don't want to pay $30 million a year for Deebo, there's any number of teams that are willing to because that's the going rate now. And NFL teams have adjusted. I don't know if the Niners have.
Somebody will pay him that.
Anoop says, why are the Niners taking pieces away from Trey Lance, Deebo, and Bosa enabled 2019 and 2021? 49ers think and act like losers under the Yorks. I mean, we don't know what they're thinking. We do not know. We
Yeah,
do not
and
know.
this is
think
where
they
I
want
would
to-
say to the fan base that, like, as much as I say, yes, it's a big deal that Deebo is taking this option, is using this leverage, I still do believe they get a deal done. So you have to be a little patient before you label the 49ers complete failures in this negotiation, because I think they probably come to the table and get a deal done with Deebo, probably get one done with Bosa, probably trade Jimmy Garoppolo. You have to wait for these things to actually conclude before you make those conclusions.
I mean, I don't think they want to trade Deebo. That's why Jed York already retweeted a meme of someone. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't want to do it, but they're looking for a solution that Parag can sign off on. We just gave them the solution. We told them. So now they were searching. We found it. Give us 20% and we'll move on.
Easy.
Neil says, Grant, you tried to warn Deebo and he blocked you. I'm saying, man, dude, I was on your side, Deebo. It was too real. You blocked me. I don't even need an apology. I'm cool.
It's generous of you.
Wesley says, do you think it's possible that 49ers players and coaches are just trolling the media? They seem to have it out for the media a bit. It's possible. I kind of feel like Kyle was trolling the media last year. Like, he was like, I have a Mac Jones or Mac Jones. And I'm not taking Mac Jones. You're not taking Mac Jones. I don't know. I think he had a lot of fun with that last year. Maybe. I like trolling. Who am I to say that, Deebo?
I absolutely believe Kyle likes to troll the media.
Yes, absolutely. I don't know what I think I guess we'll find out. Swan Song says keeping up with the 49ers shins greenlit for 2022. I wish, but
Drama.
Their brick by brick show is actually very boring.